In this tutorial, we're going to focus on another line of evidence for evolution, very similar to DNA-DNA hybridization in the sense that it's a molecular strand of evidence. Here we're going to focus on homologous proteins. And again, what we're looking for are similarities between one organism and another. But instead of looking at similarities of base sequences in DNA, here we're looking at similarities in amino acid sequences in proteins. Now, I've had a little break there, so I'm just not sure exactly if I'm picking up in the right spot, but I think I'm in the right spot here. So when I say that if we look at the number of amino acids in common in a protein sequence, then we can perhaps talk about the degree of relatedness between two different organisms. So they often look at two particular proteins when it comes to this kind of comparison. Hemoglobin in blood cells is a particularly useful one because it remains fairly stable over time. And the other one is cytochrome C. And we've mentioned this when it comes to the electron transport chain in respiration as one of the acceptor molecules for electrons as they move down the electron transport chain. And they describe these proteins as highly conserved. So there's a high degree of stability over a long period of time. They don't have a high degree of mutation. So if we can work out the amino acid sequences in hemoglobin molecules from different species, so the number of amino acids in a sequence from hemoglobin in species 1, and compare it to the amino acid sequence in hemoglobin from species 2, just like we can check the degree of bases in DNA that are held in common, we can check to see how many amino acids are held in common. And again, it would be kind of common sense to say that the more amino acids there are in common in a hemoglobin molecule, the greater the relatedness between the two species here. The less amino acids that are held in common, the further back the two species departed from each other. So this is how homologous proteins, in the sense proteins that share a number of bases or many bases in common, can be used as evidence for descent from a common ancestor. And there are other ways of doing this too. You can use immunology. Again, you can look at the degree which various antibodies react against other species' blood proteins. And again, the less an antibody tends to attack another species' blood protein, means that the greater commonality there must be between those two species. So immunology can also be used to help determine phylogeny, that is, the historical evolutionary relationships.